The snow was falling like powdered sugar drifting from the sky, slow, soft, and a little too peaceful for the kind of day I was about to walk into. I stood on my son Ethan's porch with a warm casserole tucked against my sweater and a small gift bag looped around my wrist. Ah, if only warmth from the dish could melt cold hearts, huh? For 69 Christmases, I'd shown up with something, cookies, ham, decorations, something to say, hey, family still matters. Nobody asked me this year, but old habits run deeper than wrinkles. I rang the doorbell. Ding. Dong. The porch light flickered over the little snowflakes, catching on my scarf. Cute moment. If I didn't already know the vibe inside was about to be colder than the porch. The door swung open, and there stood Lydia, my daughter-in-law, forever queen of the "you're annoying me, but I won't say it" face. "You're early," she said, eyebrows lifted like she was checking the time on my life choices. "Well, I wanted the food to stay warm," I said with a smile. "Merry Christmas, sweetheart." She stepped aside just enough so I wouldn't accidentally graze her sleeve. Ugh, this woman. Inside, the house was decorated perfectly, garland on the banister, candles flickering on the counter, the whole Pinterest starter pack. But it didn't feel warm. It felt staged. Like Christmas was happening for visitors, not for family. I set the casserole on the counter and placed the gift bag next to it. Lydia was behind me, arms crossed so tightly she might have been holding herself together. "We didn't ask you to bring anything," she said with that quiet, sharp tone people use when they want the words to sting extra. "I know," I replied, arranging the dish anyway. "I brought it because I wanted to." She sighed dramatically, the kind of sigh meant to slap someone. Aha! I almost clapped for her performance. I didn't respond. Sometimes silence is stronger than any comeback. Ethan walked in from the living room. My son. My baby. Except today, he looked at me like I was a flyer stuck to his windshield. "Mom, you should have called first." I blinked. "It's Christmas dinner, sweetheart." I didn't think I needed an invitation. He glanced at Lydia, then at the casserole, then back at me. "Well, we had plans." "Plans?" I asked gently. "I thought dinner was at 5. "It is," Lydia cut in. "But we didn't expect extra things." Extra things. Homemade food. Wrapped gifts. A mother. I swallowed that one whole. I walked to the living room and placed the gifts under the tree. One for Ethan, one for their daughter Sophie, one for Lydia. "They're just small things," I said softly. "You really didn't need to," Lydia replied with a tight smile that could have cracked glass. We sat at the table. No greeting. No grace. Forks scraped plates like little knives. The silence felt like someone slowly lowering a heavy door. After a while, I looked around. "Where's Sophie?" "Upstairs," Lydia answered. "She's busy. Busy. On Christmas dinner." Ah, that hurt deeper than words. I tried to make conversation. "The house looks beautiful." "Thanks," Lydia said, sharp final. Halfway through the meal, Ethan dropped his fork. The clink wasn't loud, but it cut the room clean in half. He looked at me like he'd practiced something in the mirror. "Mom." I waited. "You don't belong here anymore." My heart didn't break, it froze. "You mean I'm not family?" I asked quietly. Before Ethan could speak, Lydia answered. "That's what he said." The hit landed. Sharp, precise, final. I put my fork down, folded my napkin, and stood up. "All right," I said steadily. "As you wish." Ethan shifted. "Mom, wait." But he didn't stand. He didn't reach for me. He didn't undo the hurt he caused. I walked to the tree, picked up every gift I'd placed there, slid on my coat, and wrapped my scarf. At the front door, I paused. "Remember your words," I said. Then I stepped into the snow. And for the first time that night, the cold outside felt warmer than the home behind me. But little did they know, that Christmas night didn't break me. It built the fire I'd used to burn their plans down. And oh honey, their plans were darker than the winter sky. The house was still dark when I woke up the next morning. Not the tossing and turning kind of night. No crying into the pillow. No dramatic movie moment. I just lay there, quiet, breathing, thinking. The heater clicked on, a steady hum in the silence. For the first time in years, that hum felt like comfort instead of background noise. Oh, funny how peace shows up right after hell tries to knock you over. When the clock hit 6:12, I pushed the blanket aside, put on my robe, and walked to the kitchen. I made coffee the way I always did. One scoop too strong, just how I liked it. The smell filled the room, warm, bold, alive. Everything Lydia wasn't. Outside, the snow had stopped. Inside, I felt something thawing that wasn't going to freeze back. My phone buzzed. A text from Margaret, my best friend for 40 years, and the only person who could tell when something was off just by the way I answered the phone. Merry Christmas, Helen. Call me when you're awake. I hit the call button. She picked up so fast I swear she was sitting on her phone waiting. Helen, honey, you sound tired. I'm fine, I said. She snorted. You're never up this early unless someone annoyed your soul. I exhaled slowly. They threw me out last night. Silence. Then Margaret inhaled so sharply I thought she was choking. On Christmas. Yes. Ethan, she demanded. And Lydia, I added. Mostly Lydia. What did they say why? I stared at the steam rising from my mug. That I don't belong there anymore. Her voice cracked in outrage. They told you that. Why owe you? The woman who raised that boy. They did. She started ranting, pacing, throwing verbal hands like she was in a bar fight. I let her. Margaret always reacted first and thought second, the opposite of me. When she finally cooled down, she asked, what are you going to do? I looked around my kitchen, my home, my space, my peace. No one telling me I'm extra for bringing food. No one judging my presence. No one deciding whether I belong. I'm going to take my life back, I said quietly. Margaret's voice softened like butter melting on a griddle. Helen, do you need help? Yes. I need you to be a witness soon. Not today. You know I'm right here, she said. Just say when. I know. I hung up and placed the phone down. The sky outside was turning faint gold, the kind of color that makes you feel like something new is coming, whether you like it or not. I grabbed a small black notebook from the kitchen drawer. Blank pages. Fresh start. New rules. On the first page I wrote, Step 1. Call Martin. Step 2. Bank. Step 3. Protect what's mine. Step 4. No one humiliates me twice. My handwriting didn't even shake. Not one bit. Just then, buzz. And text from Ethan. We should talk. Yesterday got tense. Let's reset. Reset. Cute. Like Christmas was a video game and he just wanted a do-over. A second message came immediately. Mom, let's be civil. You know how Lydia gets when things aren't planned. Ah, there it was. The classic blame Lydia, but still side with her maneuver. He'd gotten good at that one. I didn't reply. Actions speak louder than texts written in panic. Instead, I washed my mug, dried it, placed it in the cabinet, put on a sweater, grabbed my keys, and locked my front door behind me. The snow on my walkway crunched under my shoes, sharp, cold, honest. The air stung my cheeks, but I welcomed the sting. Pain with purpose hits different. I slid into my car and started the engine. The heater hummed as the frost on the windshield slowly melted away. The plan was simple, solid, cold as the snow outside. And as I backed out of the driveway, I whispered the words that felt truer than anything Ethan said last night. They removed me. Now I removed them. Oh, man. But I had no idea that when I walked into that liar's office, the truth waiting for me was even uglier than Ethan and Lydia's words. And oh boy, things were about to blow up bigger than a Thanksgiving turkey in a deep fryer. Martin's office sat in a quiet brick building with a faded blue sign that most people would drive right past unless they knew better. But I knew better. I'd been there twice, once with my late husband, and once years ago when Ethan bought his first home. Back then, he trusted me enough to ask what every line on a contract meant. Back then, he listened. I parked in the same visitor spot as always and took a deep breath. Not shaky, not scared, just steady. Like I'd waited my whole life to have a morning like this. A morning where I finally stood up for myself. The lobby was quiet when I stepped inside. The kind of quiet that says, we handle grown-up problems here. A printer hummed somewhere in the back. Jenna, the receptionist, looked up and smiled. MRS. Monroe, she said warmly. Good morning. Let me tell Mr. Ellis you're here. Ah, she was sweeter than half the people claiming to be family. I sat in the waiting area, staring at the framed certificates on the wall. Law degrees, bar admissions, all the fancy stuff. Martin never used them to intimidate. He didn't need to. A moment later, he stepped out, glasses low on his nose like the morning already tested his patience. Helen, he said with that gentle lawyer voice people learn in school, come on in. I followed him to his office. He closed the door slowly, not dramatically, just enough to keep the room private. Papers were stacked neatly, a steaming mug of tea sitting on a coaster. What brings you in? He asked. I didn't sugarcoat it. No point in playing shy at my age. I need to update my will. He lifted an eyebrow. All right. Same structure as before. No. He leaned back, waiting. Martin never rushed anyone. It's how he got half this town to trust him with their secrets. I want my son removed, I said plainly. Martin didn't gasp, didn't flinch, didn't say, are you sure? Like dramatic movie lawyers do. He simply nodded. Removed completely? Completely. And the beneficiaries? The Veterans Housing Foundation, I said. And Sophie. Not Lydia, he asked. I let out a dry sound that wasn't quite a laugh. Absolutely not. He opened a folder and pulled out the old will. What happened? They told me I don't belong in their home anymore. I paused. On Christmas. He didn't react with pity. He reacted with clarity. That, he said, is a very clear message. It was, I replied. So, he said, tapping his pen, you're responding. I'm correcting. A tiny smile twitched at the corner of his mouth. Fair enough. He began writing notes. Your assets will shift to the foundation and your granddaughter. Your son is removed as heir and executor. Are you prepared for how final that is? Yes. Any chance you'll want to undo this later? No. Good, he said. Then let's proceed. He reviewed each clause with precision. I initialed every page he pointed to. My hand didn't shake. Not once. Not even when I signed the final page, the signature Ethan would never see coming. When we finished, Martin placed the final document in a folder. Effective immediately, he said. Your estate is protected. No one can contest this unless they want to challenge your competence, and they won't win. I nodded. I'm aware. And Helen, he added quietly, I've seen plenty of messy family situations, but you're thinking clearly. I'm tired of being disrespected, I said simply. That, he replied, is enough reason to act. I stood, shook his hand, and walked toward the door. Helen, he called after me. Yes, you did the right thing. I didn't answer, just nodded and left. Outside, the cold air wrapped around me. The sun was barely out, but the sky was turning a soft winter blue. I held the folder in my arms the way some women hold their handbags, with purpose. I got into my car, placed the folder on the passenger seat, and rested my hand on it. Step 1. Done. Step 2 was waiting. A bank. And oh honey, that was the part I didn't see coming. Because when I walked into that bank, I found out Ethan and Lydia had already tried something behind my back. And it wasn't just shady, it was illegal. And trust me, what I uncovered made Christmas dinner look like a sweet picnic. The bank lobby felt different that morning. Not cold, not formal, just solid. Like everything in that building ran on rules, facts, and signatures. No guilt trips, no fake smiles, no, you don't belong here. Honestly, it felt refreshing. Ha ha ha, imagine finding more trust in a bank than in your own kid. A teller recognized me immediately and waved me toward the private offices. Miss Monroe, Eli can see you now. Perfect. Eli always had a calm voice and the kind of patience therapists wish they had. He opened his office door when I approached. Good morning, Mrs. Monroe. Please come in. I sat down across from him, placing my notebook on the table. Open to step 2, bank. I need all joint accounts locked, I said calmly. Every single one. He blinked, but only for a second. Lock? Yes, restricted removed access. Whatever shuts the door. He adjusted his glasses. Your son is listed on 3 accounts. Do you want access restricted or removed? Removed, I said before he even finished. He nodded and started typing. His keyboard clicked like rapid-fire popcorn. As he scrolled through my file, I noticed his expression change, slow, then sharp. MRS. Monroe, he said carefully. Were you aware of an attempt to open a new credit line yesterday? My stomach dropped. No. He turned the monitor slightly so I could see. It was submitted online under your name. $40,000. I stared at the screen. My name, my address, my information. But the signature, it looked like someone forged it using their foot. You didn't approve this? He asked. I absolutely did not. My voice had steel in it. Even I felt it. The system flagged it, he explained. The signature didn't match. Close it, I said. Permanently. It's already frozen. But I can lock it so no future attempt goes through unless you're physically present. Do that, I said. Immediately. He typed faster. When he finished, he looked at me with a mixture of respect and worry. MRS. Monroe, if someone close to you is trying to use your name or assets, I know exactly who it is. I cut in. And oh, my blood pressure was climbing like a ladder. He didn't pry. Smart man. He kept working through the accounts. I'll remove your son from the joint profiles and open a new private account for you. Sole access. Yes. No secondary names. None. More typing. More forms. More of my signature on paper. The real one, the one I earned. When he finished scanning everything, he said, your son will see all accounts sealed the next time he logs in. That's his consequence, I replied. Not my problem. He gave the smallest, respectful smile. MRS. Monroe. You handled this fast. I lifted my chin. I'm not slow. I've just been quiet. I stood, shook his hand, and walked out of his office with a folder full of confirmations. Outside, the snow had started falling again, light flakes landing on my coat like tiny reminders of the night before. But this time, I didn't feel small. I felt steady. I opened the car door, placed the folder next to the lawyer file, and flipped open my notebook. Step 2, bank, complete. Step 3, wait. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. They tried to open a $40,000 credit line using my name. $40,000. Ugh. They didn't even pick a small number. They went full, rob the bank in one-day mode. And they thought I wouldn't find out. Cute. As I started the engine, the heater blowing warm air across the windshield, a single realization settled in my chest like heavy snow. They weren't just disrespectful. They were dangerous. And I wasn't letting them get 1 inch closer. But honey, the real earthquake hit when I got home. Because that's when someone called me with a secret Lydia never wanted me to hear. A secret that turned everything into WAR. The house was quiet when I stepped back inside. The good kind of quiet, the kind where the walls don't judge you. I hung up my coat, set my bank folder on the counter, and breathed in the warm, still air. Peace. Actual peace. Something Lydia's house hadn't smelled like in years. I had just poured myself a cup of tea when my phone buzzed. I almost didn't answer. My nerves were still simmering from the bank's little surprise. But the name on the screen made me pause. Caroline Price, Lydia's cousin. The woman who sees everything and tells nothing unless she has to. I picked up. Caroline? Her voice dropped immediately. Helen, listen carefully. You need to hear this. I leaned against the counter, grip tightening on the mug. Go on. I was at Lydia's last night, she said. Her tone was rushed, shaky. They didn't know I was still in the hallway. They were talking about you. And about your villa. I froze. What about it? They're planning to use your property as collateral for some private loan. A new investment deal they're trying to get in on. Big return, fast money, blah blah. She paused. Lydia said, and I quote, she'll sign if we push her the right way. My jaw clenched so hard I thought a tooth might crack. Did Ethan say anything? Caroline hesitated. He didn't argue. He just let her talk like it was already decided. A coldness hit me deeper than any winter wind ever could. Anything else? I asked. Caroline took a deep breath. Yes. They're coming to your house tonight. I straightened. Tonight? Yes. Lydia said. We'll bring champagne. She'll feel flattered. Ha ha, the audacity. Champagne. To butter me up. Girl, please. Buy me respect instead. Thank you for calling, Caroline, I said. I'm sorry, Helen. I didn't realize how bad it was until last night. It's not bad, I corrected calmly. It's clear. She exhaled. What are you going to do? Exactly what they expect, I said, and absolutely nothing they're prepared for. Silence. Then she whispered, Good luck. I don't need luck, I replied. I'm organized. When I hung up, I set my tea on the counter and pulled my notebook toward me. Step 4. Invite them. Step 5. Prepare the trap. My handwriting still flawless. No shaking. This version of me, Lydia wasn't ready. I walked slowly through my living room, checking the dining table, the chairs, the lighting. Everything needed to be calm, clean, warm, the opposite of what I planned to drop on them. At 2:15, I texted Ethan, dinner at my place, 7 p.m. Ring Lydia. We need to talk. He responded in less than a minute, predictable. Great, Mom. We'll bring something. 30 seconds later, Lydia texted separately, bringing champagne. Let's toast to your future. Awoo, sweetheart. I hope your future likes consequences. I put my phone down and wiped the dining table, not because it was dirty, but because I wanted nothing on that table except the truth. Around 3 p.m., I called Margaret. I need you here tomorrow morning, I told her. Not tonight. For what? She asked. You'll see. She paused. You sound different. I'm done giving warnings. Margaret let out a pleased little hum. Good. Make them learn. After hanging up, I collected all the documents that would matter tomorrow. Property records, receipts, signature cards, the new trust paperwork Martin finalized. Stacked them neatly on the console table. At 6:30, snow started falling again, slow and steady, just like the opening scene of a good thriller. My phone pinged. On our way. Lydia. Of course they were. At 7 sharp, headlights slid across my driveway. Doors shut. Quick footsteps. A pause at the porch. I let them stand there a moment, in the cold, thinking they were in control. Then I opened the door. Ethan lifted a bottle of champagne, smiling like he was bringing world peace. We brought something special for tonight, he said. Lydia stepped in behind him, wearing a bright red coat and the confidence of someone who thought she was untouchable. Let's toast to new opportunities, she purred. I stepped back, letting them walk in. Opportunities, I echoed with a smile. If only they knew the opportunity they were walking into was mine, not theirs. Yenda money. Because what happened at that dinner table? You, baby, it flipped their world upside down. And Lydia's face when she realized the trap, priceless. They walked into my dining room like two real estate agents trying to sell me my own house. Lydia's heels clicked across my hardwood floor like she owned the place. Ethan followed behind her, holding the champagne like it was some sort of peace treaty. The table was set, plates, glasses, nothing more. No food, no casserole, nothing warm or welcoming. That was the point. Lydia noticed instantly. Oh, you didn't cook? She asked, her smile stretched tight like a cheap rubber band. We're talking first, I said calmly. Food can wait. Her smile wobbled a little. Of course. We actually prefer that. I bet she did. She pulled out her chair like she was preparing a PowerPoint presentation. Ethan sat next to her, setting the champagne down gently as if that softened the truth of why they really came. Lydia folded her hands. We found a great opportunity. A development near Lake Spencer. Low risk, high return, guaranteed growth. She said it like she memorized the YouTube ad. Ethan nodded too quickly. It's a chance for all of us to build something. Family building, Lydia added with her best business lady voice. I leaned back. What exactly do you need from me? Lydia leaned in, lowering her tone. Just your signature. Nothing complicated. Signature for what? I asked. To use the villa as temporary collateral, she said sweetly. Temporary? Just a couple months, she chirped. 3 max. Are you certain? I asked. Absolutely, she said, practically glowing. We even brought the paperwork. She slid a thin folder across the table. Too thin, too empty, too suspicious. Open it, I said. Lydia blinked. We already looked through. Open. Yeah. Ethan swallowed and opened the folder. One page, one signature line. No terms, no lender, no disclosures, nothing remotely legal. This isn't a contract, I said. It's bait. Lydia stiffened. It's the preliminary document. No bank on earth sends preliminary forms without terms. Her jaw twitched. You'll just have to trust us. I raised an eyebrow. Trust requires honesty. Ethan shifted in his seat. Mom, we wouldn't let anything happen. You already did, I said. That silenced them. I let a beat pass before asking, tell me, whose idea was this? Lydia smoothed her coat sleeve. We discussed everything together. So, I said slowly, you approve of using pressure to get my signature? I don't know what you mean, she snapped. I tapped the table once. You said, she'll sign if we push her the right way. Lydia froze. Ethan's eyes widened. Her face drained of color. That's not, Caroline twisted. She repeated exactly what she heard, I said. Ethan turned to her. You said that. Don't look at me like that, she hissed. You agreed. His face tightened, the guilt sinking in. I slid the folder back toward them. Let's stop pretending. You need my house because you can't get your deal approved without it. It's a good opportunity. Ethan muttered. For you, I corrected. Lydia leaned closer. Helen, don't be dramatic. No, I replied, calm as winter. I'm being clear. She threw her hands up. Fine. What do you want? I held her gaze with a level stare. To watch you realize something. Realize what? She scoffed. That you came here asking for something that isn't yours. And that yesterday. I paused for a second, letting the weight hit. You lost access to it. Ethan blinked. Lost access? To the villa? Yes. Lydia shook her head. The title is in your name. Correct? I said. But as of yesterday morning, ownership isn't. What? She whispered. It's in a trust. The room went dead silent. Ethan's face went pale. Lydia looked like she'd just swallowed a lemon whole. When? He asked. After Christmas dinner, I said. You can't do that, Lydia shouted. I can. And I did. Her voice rose sharply. This is unfair. Fair, I corrected. Would have been you respecting the person you came to exploit. Ethan's voice cracked. Mom, why? I met his eyes. You told me I didn't belong. I accept your decision. Lydia grabbed her coat. We're leaving. You should, I replied. We're done here. They walked toward the door stiffly. Ethan hesitated halfway, turning back. Mom, can we talk tomorrow? No, I said. Tomorrow belongs to consequences. I opened the door. Cold air swept in. You'll regret this, Lydia spat. I don't regret protecting myself. I closed the door slowly. Quiet. Final. They walked right into my trap, and tomorrow, they'd walk into something even bigger. Because the next morning, oh honey, they walked into a room with witnesses, evidence, and a lawyer who had zero patience for their lies. And the look on Lydia's face. Iconic. They arrived earlier than I expected the next morning. The kind of early that meant somebody didn't sleep, and somebody else didn't stop panicking. I'd just finished arranging the documents neatly on my living room table when the doorbell rang. One long press. One short press. Lydia's signature knock. Impatient, entitled, dramatic. I opened the door slowly. Ethan looked worn out, eyes swollen like he'd been crying or fighting. Lydia looked like she tried on 3 personalities in the mirror before settling on victim mode. Her coat was half-zipped, her lipstick too bright, her nerves loud enough to feel from the porch. But they weren't alone. Standing behind me was Margaret, arms crossed, planted like a security guard with sass. Near the fireplace sat Martin, briefcase closed, recorder on the table, reading glasses on. My team, my witnesses, my protection. Come in, I said. Ethan stepped inside cautiously. Mom, we need to talk. Lydia jumped in. Last night was a misunderstanding. I gestured toward the sofa. Sit. They sat, more like saying. Martin shifted slightly, flipping open his legal pad. Formal, calm, deadly. Lydia pointed at the recorder immediately. What is that for? Clarity, I said. You don't need that, she insisted. I do. I replied, because you two speak very freely when you think no one's listening. Martin nodded toward me. Whenever you're ready, Helen. I pressed play. And oh, honey, the room changed instantly. The voices that filled the room were theirs, raw, unfiltered, ugly. Lydia's voice first, sharp as a knife. She'll sign if we push her the right way. She's old. She doesn't understand investments. Just keep her flattered, and she'll give us what we need. Then Ethan's voice, hesitant but still guilty. Just make sure she doesn't back out. The house is the only asset big enough. And then Lydia again, the cherry on top. We bring champagne. She'll feel guilty. She always does. Silence slammed into the room like a car hitting ice. Ethan's mouth hung open. Mom, where did? How did? Who recorded? I didn't record you, I said. Caroline heard you through the hallway. Loud, clear, confident in your plan. Lydia's face drained. She lied. She repeated what she heard. I replied. Your tone twisted everything. Not Caroline. Lydia jumped up. This is out of context. Martin closed his folder. This is the context. He slid a printed transcript across the table. Ethan stared at his own words like they'd betrayed him. I continued. You wanted to use my home as collateral. You planned to pressure me into signing papers. You weren't helping me. You were hunting me. That's not pressure, Ethan whispered. It was an opportunity. For who? I snapped. You? Lydia? Not me. Lydia leaned forward, desperate. Helen, we were trying to build something for the family. You excluded me from that family the moment you told me I don't belong. Her lip trembled. You're exaggerating. Martin slid another paper forward. Actually, legally speaking, this qualifies as attempted financial coercion. Ethan paled. Coercion? Yes, Martin said coolly. Lydia's voice cracked. We didn't mean harm. You meant convenience, I said calmly. You counted on guilt. You counted on habit. You counted on me being quiet. Margaret's voice cut through the tension. Say it straight, Helen. I nodded. You thought age makes people weak. Ethan lowered his gaze. Mom, we messed up. Knowing is not enough. Doing better is the part that matters. What do we do? He whispered. You listen. And the room went still. I stood and tapped the trust documents. The villa is already transferred. You will never touch it. You will never borrow against it. You will never put me at financial risk again. Lydia's voice shook. That house was part of our future. You threw away your access to my future, I said. Not me. Martin closed his briefcase. This meeting is concluded. All legal protections are in place. Ethan looked broken. Lydia looked furious. And I felt steady for the first time in years. They stood slowly, like people leaving a courtroom without winning. At the door, Ethan turned back. Or are we really finished? For now, I said. The consequences are not. I closed the door behind them, slow, deliberate, final. The house didn't feel empty. It felt free. But the story wasn't done because the next days brought rumors, tests, unexpected apologies, and a final Christmas morning that changed everything. And honey, the ending? It's powerful. The days that followed felt strangely calm, like the quiet after a storm, when the clouds are still heavy but the thunder's gone. My house held a peace I hadn't felt in years. No chaos, no tension, no Lydia laughing fake loud to prove she belonged, no Ethan walking on eggshells. Just me, my notebook, and a whole lot of healing. But quiet never stays quiet for long, not in a family like ours. By the afternoon of the second day, the phone started buzzing again. Texts from numbers I hadn't spoken to in ages. Is it true what happened Christmas night? I heard there was drama. Lydia says you overreacted. Oh, bless their hearts. People in this town treat drama like it's a sport. Spare me. I ignored the messages and poured myself some tea, settling into the couch as snow drifted softly outside. The house felt warm, familiar. Mine. Around 5 p.m., Margaret knocked on the door carrying a casserole like she was entering a cook-off. I knew you weren't cooking, she said. Uh-huh, you know me well enough. We ate in the living room, talking about everything except Ethan and Lydia. It felt good, real good. But around 7 p.m., Margaret got a call, and even before she looked at me, I saw her expression shift. Oh, I muttered. It's Ethan, she said, handing me the phone. I hesitated for one long second before answering. Yes. His voice was softer than I'd heard in years. Mom, can you talk? I can listen, I responded. I'm sorry. 2 words, but they cracked something open. For what? I asked. For all of it, he said shackily. For letting her talk to you like that. For not standing up. For forgetting who raised me. A lump rose in my throat, not from sadness, but from the shock of hearing him sound human again. Why now? I asked. He inhaled. Because everything you said at that meeting was right. And because after we left, I realized something. What's that? That if I had to choose between Lydia's opportunities and the woman who saved every penny to put me through college, I should have chosen you every time. Ah, that hit different. Where is Lydia now? I asked. He hesitated. With her parents. We needed space. Space, I repeated, tasting the word. She's furious, he admitted. She said you manipulated me. He paused. But I think she was manipulating both of us. I stayed silent, not out of anger, but giving him room to speak truth finally. Then he added, voice breaking, Mom, I don't want to lose you. Margaret's eyes softened as she watched me. What are you asking for? I said. A chance to fix things, he replied. Not to get the house or the trust or anything. I don't care about that. I just want. His voice cracked. I want my mom back. A tear slid down my cheek before I even felt it. Ugh, emotions. They always show up uninvited. Ethan, I said quietly. I'm not gone. I just stopped letting myself be mistreated. I know, he said. And I'm proud of you. I just wish I'd been part of protecting you, not hurting you. That, that was something I'd waited years to hear. We can rebuild, I told him. But slowly. Slow is fine, he said quickly. I'll do whatever it takes. I exhaled deeply. Come by tomorrow morning, he agreed instantly. When I hung up, Margaret squeezed my hand. See? Earthquake settled too. The next morning, December 28th, Ethan came alone. No champagne, no folder, no attitude. He hugged me at the door, really hugged me, like the little boy he used to be. We talked for hours about boundaries, respect, consequences, the villa, the trust. He didn't argue once. He didn't defend Lydia. He didn't try to negotiate access. He just listened. As he was leaving, he looked around my house, at the warmth, the quiet, the life I'd rebuilt. This feels like home, he whispered. It always was, I said. You just forgot. He nodded slowly. Not anymore. When the door closed behind him, I stood there in the silence, not the lonely kind, but the peaceful kind. A silence that meant I'd done something right. For myself. For my future. For the family that was worth keeping. Christmas didn't break me. It revealed me. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like a gift.